3 consecutive outcalls, all of them wrong, all of them overruled, all of them happening in the middle of the biggest match of Alex Eala's career at the Southeast Asian Games. On December 18, 2025, the 20-year-old Filipino tennis star did not just have to beat her opponent on the court in Nakhon, Thailand. She had to battle questionable officiating, a stadium full of home crowd energy rooting against her, and the enormous weight of 26 years of national expectation sitting on her shoulders with every single point she played. When the final point was struck and she won 6-1, 6-2 over Thailand's Mananchaya Sawangkaew, she had done something that went far beyond winning a gold medal. She had ended a drought that began before she was even born. If you've been following Alex Eala's journey through 2025 and you want to be part of the community that is here for every chapter of this story, subscribe now. What happened in Thailand on December 18th is one of the most significant moments in Philippine sports history, and there is so much more of this story still to come. Let's go back to the beginning of this particular piece of history, because understanding how long the Philippines had been waiting makes what Alex did in that final hit with the full force it deserves. The last time a Filipino woman stood on top of the Southeast Asian Games women's singles tennis podium was 1999 in Brunei, when Maris Fernandez captured gold. That was 26 years ago. An entire generation of Filipino tennis players had come and gone in the years between that title and the moment Alex walked onto the court in Thailand. If you go back even further, the title before Fernandez's came from Felicidad Pio's triumph at the 1981 Manila Games. In the decades in between and after, Indonesia and Thailand had dominated women's singles tennis at the Southeast Asian Games, combining for 11 titles between them and essentially locking the Philippines out of the top position in the region. 26 years, that is how long the wait had been, and the player who was about to end it was 20 years old and ranked 53rd in the world, the highest any Filipino tennis player, male or female, had ever been ranked in the history of the sport. Alex walked onto the court at the National Tennis Development Center in Thailand as the clear favorite on paper. Her opponent, Mananchaya Sawangkaew, was ranked 240th in the world, which meant the ranking gap between them was enormous. But tennis is not played on paper, and this match was about to demonstrate that truth with a level of drama nobody watching had fully anticipated. There was history between these two players that added an extra layer of tension to the occasion. Less than a year before this final, at an ITF tournament in Takasaki, Japan, Sawangkaew had beaten Alex 6-4, 1-6, 2-6 in the quarterfinals. That result had not been forgotten. Alex was walking into this match not just seeking gold for her country, but also with something personal to prove. On top of that, she was playing in Thailand, on Sawangkaew's home soil, with a partisan crowd in the building ready to back their player loudly at every opportunity. The conditions were everything except comfortable for the Filipino star. From the very first serve, Alex made her intentions completely clear. She broke Sawangkaew in the second game and raced to a commanding 3-0 lead with powerful ground strokes and aggressive baseline play that overwhelmed the Thai player from the start. Sawangkaew managed to hold serve in the fourth game to get on the board and make it 3-1, but that was as close as she would get in the first set. Alex won the next 3 games and closed out the opening set 6-1 in dominant fashion. The Filipino fans who had made the journey to Thailand erupted when that final point landed. Their player was 1 set away from ending 26 years of heartbreak, 1 set away from writing her name into Philippine sports history in a way that would last forever. Then the second set began, and with it came the kind of disruption that tests everything a player has built in terms of mental toughness and competitive composure. After Alex won the opening game of the second set, Sawangkaew found her rhythm and leveled the set at 1-1. Then came the third game, and everything that happened in it should be part of the conversation when people talk about what Alex Eala is made of as a competitor. The linesman made an incorrect outcall on a ball that was clearly in bounds. The chair umpire overruled it. Then it happened again. Another wrong call on another ball that was actually in. another overrule from the chair umpire, then a third time. 3 consecutive incorrect outcalls against Alex, all on balls that were actually landing inside the court, all in the same game of the most important match of her career at this tournament. All 3 were overruled, meaning the correct decisions were eventually made, but the disruption to her rhythm and her concentration was real and visible. Alex had seen enough. She walked to the chair umpire and did something that required both courage and composure in the middle of a tense match. She formally requested that the linesman be replaced. The request was denied, but the point had been made clearly and publicly. What was happening was not acceptable, and she was not going to accept it quietly. Fans watching on social media were furious, with comments noting that 3 consecutive wrong calls of that nature in the most critical moments of the match felt deliberate rather than accidental. Whether or not that was the case, the effect on the match was real. The problems did not stop there. There had already been an unusually long break after the first set ended, a gap that appeared designed to disrupt Alex's momentum and give Sawangkaew time to regroup after being outplayed so completely. When the second set resumed, Sawangkaew was also permitted 2 equipment change breaks to replace her insoles, a tactic she had also used during her semifinal match against Indonesia's Janice Chen earlier in the tournament. The pattern of disruptions was clear to everyone watching. The conditions of this match were working against the Filipino player at every turn. And then, right after the linesman controversy in Game 3, Sawangkaew managed to break Alex's serve in Game 4 to level the second set at 2-2. The home crowd sensed their moment. They got louder. For a brief stretch, the possibility of a genuine comeback felt real, and the atmosphere in the building shifted to reflect it. This is the moment that defines the difference between players who are good and players who become champions. This is where the years of training at the Rafa Nadal Academy, the months of competing at the highest levels of the WTA Tour in 2025, and the lifetime of preparation for big pressure moments either show up or they do not. Alex dug into Game 5, broke right back to regain the lead at 3-2, and the momentum swung back. Sawangkaew, feeling the pressure mounting, committed a costly double fault that helped Alex extend her advantage. In Game 7, Alex broke serve again to move to 5-2, putting herself 1 game away from gold with the weight of 26 years of Filipino tennis history pressing down on every point she played. The final game was not handed to her. Sawangkaew refused to give up, and the 2 players traded powerful baseline exchanges, with neither willing to blink. On the 5th point, with match point on the line, Sawangkaew attempted a cross-court passing shot. The ball sailed wide. The gold medal was Alexandra Eala's. She held her face in her hands as the moment hit her. The Filipino fans in the building roared. She had done it, through the questionable officiating, through the tactical breaks, through the hostile crowd, through the pressure of carrying 26 years of her country's expectations. It had taken every bit of what she had, and she had delivered every bit of it. In her immediate post-match interview conducted right there on the court where she had just made history, her emotions were completely raw and completely genuine. She told reporters that ending the year on that kind of high was an amazing thing and that she would not have thought it possible at the start of the year. Later, she would say she was over the moon and that being able to bring that kind of pride to her country was something she had only ever dreamed about. The moment that captured the full human weight of the achievement came when she embraced her parents after the match. She handed the gold medal to her mother, Rita Manos Eala, herself a former competitive swimmer who had won a Southeast Asian Games bronze medal 40 years earlier in the women's 100-meter backstroke. 2 generations of Filipino athletes, both Southeast Asian Games medalists, both driven by the same competitive spirit and the same love of country. When Alex placed that gold medal in her mother's hands, she was not just celebrating her own achievement, she was connecting it to something that runs deeper than any single tournament result, a family story and a national story that had been building for decades.
To fully understand why the gold medal in Thailand meant what it meant, you have to look at the full picture of what Alexandra Eala's 2025 season was. She began the year ranked 138th in the world, By the time she stood on that court in Thailand in December, she had climbed to 53rd, having reached the career high of 50th in November. The climb of nearly 100 ranking spots in a single year was built on a series of moments that each would have been historic on their own. The Miami Open was where the world first truly took notice. She arrived on a wild card, meaning she did not have the ranking to enter directly and needed the tournament to give her a special entry. She left having reached the semifinals, becoming the first Filipino woman to reach the last four at a WTA 1000 event. Along the way, she defeated 3 former Grand Slam champions, and she became the first wildcard in WTA history to beat 3 major champions in the same tournament. The tennis world could not look away. She made her Grand Slam main draw debuts at the French Open, Wimbledon, and the US Open in the same year, competing on the biggest stages in tennis for the first time at all 3 of the majors held during the 2025 season. At the US Open in New York, she became the first Filipino player to win a main draw match at any Grand Slam tournament in the Open era, defeating Denmark's Clara Tauson, who was ranked 15th in the world at the time. These were not quiet moments. Each one was a first for her country, each one adding another chapter to a story that the Philippines had been waiting a long time to read. In September, she won her first WTA Tour title at the Guadalajara 125 Open, defeating Pana Rupvardi in the final to become the first Filipino player to win a tournament at that level. Nearly 354 days after beginning her 2025 campaign in the qualifying rounds of an early season event, she ended it standing on a podium in Thailand with a gold medal around her neck and tears on her face. The road to that gold medal in the Southeast Asian Games had been methodical, impressive, and deeply meaningful. She won her early round matches without significant drama before building toward the final with the accumulated confidence of everything her 2025 season had already produced. When the controversy came in that second set final, when the calls went against her and the crowd was loud and the pressure was at its absolute maximum, she had the full resources of everything she had built across the entire year to draw on, and she drew on all of it. 26 years. That is how long the Philippines waited for a woman to win gold in singles tennis at the Southeast Asian Games. The player who ended that wait was 20 years old, had spent the year climbing nearly 100 ranking spots, beating Grand Slam champions, making history at majors, and winning her country's first WTA-level title. She ended the year the way it deserved to be ended, standing on a podium in Thailand, gold medal in hand, having beaten every obstacle that the match put in front of her. Alex Eala's 2025 season is complete, and if what she did this year is the foundation, the years ahead are going to be something remarkable to watch.